We'll
Couple
just have to
more.
call in the big guns, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, that's payday, not
Nova
this.
Prime Blueprint. I already had that.
Yep. Yeah, don't
I've
sell
got
those for
more.
cash, by the way. You can trade them for ducats, which we might want you to do at some point.
What are ducats?
Ducats are how you buy like the really rare mods, like primed flow and primed continuity and primed whatever. Effectively, what they do is they have a higher like capacity.
Are they a currency I probably don't have yet?
Yeah.
Or not?
You go to one of the relays and you sell your prime components there. And then
Does it show up as a currency next to the other currencies, or is it just another thing like Rubido?
only at certain times, but yeah, it will show up next to your currency bar. It just doesn't show up all the time because it doesn't matter 90% of the time.
They don't want to look like one of those mobile games that has 17 currencies at once.
Yeah, it only matters once every once every other weekend.
There are crowds here. Let's thin them. Ow. Bar's closed, folks.
It reminds me, you have never had like any level of alcohol.
No, that's not true.
Oh, you have? I thought you
I've
said.
absolutely had alcohol.
I swore you say you'd never like had a drink before.
No, I know. I've said I don't drink.
Oh.
I've never been drunk.
Oh.
That was the
okay.
the point.
Okay, for whatever reason, I thought
I
you
don't
just
have
never
intention of being
experienced it.
drunk because I get freaked out by the idea of not controlling yourself, specifically because I've been around a lot of people that don't control themselves.
Yeah, I had several friends in college that like had alcohol
Yeah.
poisoning and had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I had 2 glasses of champagne at my dad's wedding. I've had multiple since. I like mimosas. They're just like a fun little thing to have. Probably had like 3 shots of Fireball.
I've never had Fireball, but I don't like whiskey.
When I was playing Outlast as a joke, I had encouragement juice, which was grape juice mixed with Coors Light.
Ew.
It was mostly a dumb joke. Probably bad for my voice. But it's a short series, so who gives a shit? It's satisfying to slam into the ground and have the ridiculous pixely orange shockwave fire out of me because of that mod that I sort of jokingly equipped. And aside from that, just to be polite, whenever my parents would brew new beer, I would try one.
Yep. Makes sense. The one time I'd say
it was just like a hobby thing.
Drinking slightly more than usual would make sense would be Katamari. Drunk, or at least tipsy Katamari.
Katamari.
Trust me, it's hilarious.
Well, I was mostly surprised because I totally thought you were going towards Catterday with that word.
No. No, Drunk Catterday could get really...
instead, I was like, wait.
Drunk Catterday would be really boring, depending. Like, I've been drunk twice for Catterday.
Don't stream drunk, everyone.
I
Not
did it
nearly as
once and it was
entertaining
okay.
as you think it will be.
It's really hit and miss. You can either have, like, me giggle drunk, or, like, Bird...
I feel like...
Fuck your commentary, I'm gonna speak over everything.
Oh, yeah. I feel like from what I've seen so far, drunkenness during a stream is 100% more amusing for the person that's drunk than it is for the people watching.
Depends.
But
But yeah.
A lot of drunk people are just really predictable and boring and repetitive. Yeah. And they kind of stop saying anything new at some point and go into cycles of the dumb thing they find funny that they're fixated on for the next 3 hours. Which the kind of stuff they wouldn't normally do.
But,
hey now.
Drunk Katamari
Why does your robot
totally
have boobs?
That's not a robot, that's a person in, like, exo armor.
They're gonna need an exoskeleton now.
They're gonna need an exo everything.
An endoskeleton. It's a made up word.
But yeah, I did Drunk Katamari once in college, and it was actually, like, some of the most fun I've ever had. Because we were playing this sumo challenge. Have you played Katamari at all?
No.
Okay, so you know how Katamari works, right?
I've seen enough to know that it's a 2-joystick game where you roll a ball around to make it bigger, like Feeding Frenzy.
Okay, so similar challenge, but this one
with the best soundtrack ever.
This is true. But for this one, you're rolling around a sumo wrestler, a tiny sumo wrestler, and you have to make him big enough to knock out the other sumo wrestler on the map by eating food. And you can only eat food items on the map. and we did a drunk challenge where every time, I don't even know what, like, I think we were just drinking, but effectively I had drank way too much, and drunk Katamari was just so satisfying. Because that game gets kind of boring after a while.
It does seem kind of inherently repetitive.
Yeah.
Because it's do one challenge over and over again, basically.
Yeah.
But with variations over for the full campaign over the course of what is eventually like 5 games.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still something...
I've always been curious about that because there's the Katamari games get wildly different reviews and feedback. So I always wonder, like, what makes a good versus a bad Katamari? It's always something I've been curious about eventually figuring out.
The level design is crucial, and if you don't do it well,
yeah,
it's just not going to work. What about streaming drunk Katamari? I mean, pretty much any time we're doing anything, it will be streamed after a certain fashion.
Wander streams everything.
Yeah. Not everything. I haven't been streaming, like, Planar Conquest or
Morning Warframe.
Morning Warframe?
Yeah.
You mean when I'm, like, playing on my own?
Yeah.
I've actually streamed some of that.
Oh.
Yeah. Some of my, like, fan interaction stuff. I did stream.
Nope, there's no bad guys over there.
Like, I got a little bit impatient since, not doing Second Dream is actually holding me back in terms of, like, getting what I want.
Is it an actual progress gate?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole level area that, you can't get to until you do Second Dream. And...
Oh.
Yeah. And so I streamed
Where's the requirement
first
for
half
it
of it.
in the first place?
We gotta get to Uranus. Now, I could just drag your sorry ass to Uranus as soon as you have your Archwing done. And we can just get you the quest
so it's
that
not
way.
mastery-based?
Nope. You gotta be Mastery Rank 4, but probably...
So it is mastery-based. That it specifically isn't the level that I have yet.
This is a good point. But, like, Shell's already to Mastery Rank 4, so you're probably not too far behind.
I'm surprised she got ahead of me.
I gave her some extra stuff. Like, we were playing a little bit before this series started.
That would do it.
And she also has 4 frames to level up. You have 1.
Fuck everything in this room.
That Tesla coil is really satisfying. What a Katamari.
It's so satisfying to just have power all the time.
Yeah.
It's such a change of pace to not have to hunt for a blue thing in the environment to use my character abilities that I like the most.
I kind of really wish it would charge
That's
up
not how
over
I
time,
jumped.
or if all of your abilities were cooldown based. Like, I really
mean,
like...
There's a way to charge over time. It's
True.
the aura I just got.
True.
Gotta pump that shit up and then find 6 friends that all use it too.
Yeah, I should...
And everyone gets 20 energy per second and you just hold down 1.
I think it only goes up to, like, 3 or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it caps. Although 3 per second is still pretty fast. Considering the, once you have efficiency turned up, it only costs you 20 or less.
Yeah,
that'd be like being able to volt every 6 seconds.
Did I give you fleeting efficiency? Because if I did, you can get your efficiency up to,
I don't think I have it yet.
I want to say
I think you mostly gave me ones that increase my efficiency.
Well, no, fleeting efficiency reduces your duration and increases your efficiency.
Yeah. I think you mostly gave me something that increases my duration.
Oh.
I don't think I saw fleeting efficiency in there.
I think
I would definitely would have equipped it if I noticed it.
Okay, I swear I had a spare one and I could totally give it to you. But yeah, efficiency caps at 75%, but I think you can get your Palpatine attack to like 5.5.
You create mod folders like on Steam.
I wish.
Just be like, these are the ones I care about, and hide all the other ones.
I mean, the nice thing is after a while,
that matter.
After a while, you've ranked up all of your mods.
Wow, this room.
This room is kind of mean, yeah. You can shoot off the lasers, like even when they're not running, by the way.
Mostly just amusing watching everything take off like that. Like you walk in and there's just like a giant star of laser in the middle of the screen. Okay. Oh shit, I have 6 health. I'm alive. I'm alive for now. There we go. That would have been a great room to walk into with 100 energy.
Yeah.
I walked into there and saw the most enemy density I've seen so far, and I'm like, I do not have my ult right now.
We should do a survival
to
at
have
some
it.
point.
Oh yeah.
Really push the enemy
Oh
density.
god, the Tesla coils.
Though, I do think you would enjoy Ember if you got the chance to use her.
Could be.
Her number 4 skill just, any enemy nearby just gets lit on fire for damage, and depending on how you build her, it can be a lot. And that's really satisfying to go through like a low-level thing and be like, I haven't touched an enemy yet because they're all burning.
I went right past that guy. Is that how you hunt? There we go. Alert! Something helmet. I missed it.
Nick's Menticide helmet. It's probably useless for you. Probably
Could
not
be.
super interesting for
I mean, don't
me
the
either.
helmets do nothing?
Mostly, yeah. The only helmets that are worth anything are called arcane helmets, and they're super rare. And actually, no, they've been discontinued, so...
Yeah, you refer to them as a legacy feature.
Yep. Yeah, the only reason why they still exist is because a lot of people had them, and, like, you know, they didn't really want to just write a major feature for people out of the game.
Yeah, although it's a little rough to keep it in, too. Because
I mean,
it's
it's
like,
only,
hey,
like-
keep this item that gives you a benefit.
Yeah.
that no one can ever get again.
I guess for me, it doesn't bother me so much just because, again, this game's so cooperative, it doesn't matter too much. Though
Yeah.
I have been in parties where people will, like, demand I prove that I have an arcane helmet. I'm like, are you serious? And then I
Why?
leave. Because some people are insane, and
I mean, I believe you on that part for sure.
some people are so insane about, like, min-maxing their party that they will refuse to join you if you've got, like, an improper setup. And it's like, you sure? Like, don't you have better things to do in there? They're very committed to the idea.
Can confirm, am cray cray. I
And
can do the
then-
Forma blueprint. The Forma another... Wait, no, that's an attachment thing, huh?
Yeah, well, the
Forma's
forma
not a-
resets your weapon down to level 1, but it gives you a half cost
Oh, there it... Right.
thing. Yeah. Formas are nice, but if you're, like, really shooting for the end game, you need to make, like, a silly amount of those. Excalibur Pendragon is the most notable one. 25 power strength on Excalibur. Okay, yeah, that's pretty strong. I've only got
Wow,
a 15%
yeah.
bonus.
That is a large thing.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a surprise to have the game goes really, really deep into how it handles equipment on how mods work, basically. And it's surprising because it kind of makes it like the one RPG that doesn't use equipment slots.
Yeah. I like it, though, because it's nicely universal. So, like, you can build up one character, and then you build another one, you're like, alright, well, let's just flop all of my mods over, and we don't have to worry about it. Like, trying to think of a good example of any other game that does similar things, and I'm coming off with blanks. I guess not exactly the same, but like Final Fantasy X barely had an equipment system, and that always kind of floored me. Like, it did, but mostly did not. It was all just that sphere grid.
For a while now, a lot of Final Fantasy games have literally been equip one weapon and like 2 charms. Like,
Yeah.
they have an equipment slot that's like not even like an equipment slot so much as like you can hold X number of items, whatever those are. You'll put like an iron bangle on or something like that and be like, I learned what bangle means.
Yeah. And I like that. Like, I like equipment systems, but I almost prefer accessory-based systems instead.
Yeah. I mean, there's the whole Dark Souls thing where really the most interesting thing to get customized is your weapon.
Yeah.
Everything else is might as well be fashion.
But your weapons will last through the entire game. That is such a nice choice for that game. That, like, if you want to, yeah, you can just use your basic equipment. Maybe not
Definitely
armor.
have moments where I wish more games function like Dark Souls, where you just have fashion souls. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put these items on because it looks like this. It's kind of
Well,
fun to
that's-
customize your character that way.
It's also really hard to make an RPG that a skilled enough player can go through the entire thing without touching the RPG mechanics once.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly
Well,
can't think
it's
of
usually
any other
impossible
RPGs
because
like
you
that.
literally can't. In most RPGs, you can't stop yourself from leveling.
Yeah, this is true.
Like, Dark Souls has the weird mechanic in that you physically spend your experience as a currency to gain levels ever, otherwise it never happens.
Yeah.
Whereas in a lot of games, you literally just level up, and you can't control it, and it happens, and your Pikachu now has +2 speed or whatever.
But, like, did you hear of the guys back in World of Warcraft that would play through the game without a weapon? Or without a without armor and stuff?
There's some micromanaging there.
Yeah, so the person without a weapon was a hunter, and they just followed their pet around, more or less being the pet medic.
Oh, that's not as impressive.
That wasn't so impressive. I mean,
Hunter pets are pretty bullshit.
There was somebody else that specifically was doing a weaponless warrior.
Yeah,
and
that's at least something.
Yeah,
But, like the hunter pets have always been a thing where it's like, yeah, you could totally just solo the entire game by having your pet do everything for you.
Yeah.
Not raiding and stuff, but the whole leveling experience, absolutely. Even vanilla when the game was harder. But nowadays the game's so easy that almost everyone can like sleepwalk through it. So having a powered up pet that's inherently more powerful than monsters of its same level, then it's just basic math that it'll win.
Yep. My favorite was the paladin that refused to use a weapon at all, and so he just had a shield and relied on consecration and a couple other things to keep aggro on him, and he only leveled via instances. I thought he was kind of... I mean, honestly, it wasn't so hard, because paladin. But it was still just like, good on you, man, for coming up with something fun.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, WoW is so easy to level through that you can beat it with a dance pad, as someone has done. And I'll tell you, like, beating it with a dance pad like that guy did is not an impressive feat of, like, skill or, like, like, it's not like beating Dark Souls with a guitar. Like, it's not like that. Like, wow, how did you do that? It's literally like, you sure had a lot of patience to keep doing it, is the primary impressive part of it.
Did you hear about the guy that got through, all the way up to level 90 or something like that? Or is it 95? Or maybe even 100 by never leaving Pandaria?
That's some horrifying stuff.
There was a daily quest that you could... No, not even a daily quest you could do. It was a repeatable
I'm not talking
quest.
about beating WoW. I'm just saying hit max level in WoW. We'll find silly ways to do it.
Like, this guy just did this repeatable quest in Pandaria all the way up to 100 and, like, live streamed a lot of it. I'm like, you know...
That's horrifying.
I mean, after doing the Never Leave Sanctuary challenge and now King of the Wasteland, like, I actually have a lot of respect for that sort of thing, because, honestly, making challenges out of games that are already, like, done to death is really fun.
But I think there might be a crazy check at some point, though, too. Like,
this is true.
Like, the Wasteland thing is a challenge of, like, yeah, let's find stuff to do here, but the Pandaria thing is, I'm going to repeat one action forever until a number gets higher. And we're going to pretend I'm not literally insane. Like, that was a repeatable starting level quest? Oh my god. Like, he's just doing one menial task over and over again, probably for years. Like, that's... Oh no.
It took him just a little bit over 1 year, but like hundreds of hours. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, like, imagine if you were like a streamer, and you could somehow manage to sustain yourself off of streaming that and just like hanging out, chatting with people, listening to music. I could almost see it being possible. Still maddening.
I can't.
It'd be worse if you were doing it without. Like.
That feels like taking video games and making them not an escapism thing anymore, and just turning it into a job in the most, like...
horrible way
that's
possible.
Actually worse than most boring jobs as far as how menial that would be, doing that.
I guess. Okay.
I just feel like it feels like somebody's sitting in a room and just flipping a coin over and over again for like a year.
Well, I mean, like, there's that guy that has the YouTube channel where it's literally just hours of him smiling at a camera.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I would say that's even more maddening than World of Warcraft. Like, streaming the same dumb quest in World of Warcraft over and over again. Because,
that's saying it's not a challenge if it has no difficulty. I'm not saying... Not really what I'm saying, though. I'm just saying, like, why?
You aren't the first ones here. I'm detecting multiple...
It's one of those things where, like, it's not really about, like, wow, what an accomplishment, he did it for a whole year. It's just like, no, don't do that, man. Don't, it's okay. You can just not. Poor guy.
So one of the things I'm running into as I grow up and grow as a YouTuber is I always hear about these people that have like severe video game addictions or like, you know, can't find anything better
Ow.
to do with their lives and stuff. And it's always it's been messing with my head because I've got such a skewed sense of like, you know, I'm not going to say like work ethic, but like such a skewed sense of like you can do anything and make a living off of it because I play video games for a living.
Yeah.
That always boggles my mind that, like, there are just perpetually unemployed people that just play video games and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, no, it totally happens, but it's like...
For a long time, my little brother was just a non-functioning human for years, because he just was playing WoW or League of Legends just all day. And he wouldn't, like, do basic things of cleaning up his surroundings or himself, and he would like not eat, and he would not like come to anything even that was supposed to be fun, let alone like support himself financially or even like go to school half the time. And it's like, holy shit, man, I'm happy I never had to deal with that.
I think this is the first time you've actually confirmed that he's younger than you.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think you've ever said younger brother. I actually was assuming you were the younger one for whatever reason.
Huh. No.
Yeah. Not like it really matters.
He's more successful than I am in some capacities. He got his own apartment like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they rent a house.
I mean, renting a house is actually cheaper than an apartment.
Yeah. But it's totally a thing of like, oh look, he's adulting.
True. Well,
come on. It was a very abrupt change too, because for a very long time he was like moving from parents' house to parents' house, whoever would deal with him more, because he kept getting them fed up with him.
Yeah.
It was a very abrupt flip of the switch between like petulant child and actual adult, like over the course of like a month all of a sudden.
It is.
Like he had an intervention.
It is hard sometimes.
Yep.
I mean, if we sit down and actually say, well, are there any better alternatives to the one I found the other day, we could actually start the process of renting an apartment.
Yeah. Although we're talking about a place that's not open for months.
Yeah, a month and a half. Which is rough, but still kind of fits in our time schedule, because I'd rather that than perpetually nothing for a while.
Yep, but this is a boring topic.
Yeah.
So, back to talking shit about Final Fantasy, whatever we were doing.
Did you've played the Final
Fantasy? I was
Fantasy...
contradicting you. They were saying that you were wrong and that it has an equipment system, but as far as I can remember, in Final Fantasy X, you basically equip like a weapon and like a trinket.
Yes, I was playing Final Fantasy X with Shell. Like, the weapon kind of mattered?
I was gonna say they're arguing with you, but you played the game like a week ago.
Yeah. And, like, there is an equipment system, it does matter, but the sphere grid is infinitely more important.
We're just contrasting Final Fantasy X with, like, say, Diablo.
Yeah.
Or a lot of Western RPGs where it's like, here's your 8 equipment slots. This is your legs. This is your helm. And then it's in a Final Fantasy, it's like, here's your one thing you can hold.
Can I just say...
And your flashy... And the only thing that changed appearance was your weapon.
The Final Fantasy job system is such a, like, revolutionary concept in my head that it always bothers me when an RPG doesn't have either, like, a sphere grid style leveling system or, like, a job change system. Like, I'm trying to think of RPGs that are, like,
change jobs?
Yeah. Like, there are a number of them. Like, you can kind of do it in Fire Emblem. But only in the most recent one. But if anything, I'd say that's the game that needs to do it the least. But like,
I mean, for me, pretty much the most fun I've ever had playing Final Fantasy combat has been Final Fantasy 10, 2, and 13.
Yeah, 10, 2, and 13 had great combat systems. 10, 2 had a great class system.
They had the whole system about. It was like a meta. It was like a meta combat system, or like the game. Like in 13 in particular, the gameplay wasn't even about picking attacks. It was about picking your party configuration. So you'd preset like 3 different party configurations, and you'd switch on them between the fly, making all 3 characters change roles at the same time in the middle of combat. And at that point, you could practically be doing auto attack if you were just maintaining your roles properly.
Yeah, by the end of the game, I was pretty much just rolling nothing but berserkers because they had really strong auto attacks and self heal, and so for like most combats, that was definitely good enough. But
Yeah,
obviously
the problem
I
is they
had
just
to build
never
up there.
balanced it. There was never a perfect balance of making 13 good, unfortunately.
I never played
Like-
enough of 13 to get a read
Yeah.
on how the combat is.
You are here.
When you play 13, most of the problem is just the fact that everyone's always criticized the fact that you're just running down hallways the entire game, which is also kind of what happens for a lot of 10. But there's also the thing of just the story and characters are just really poorly handled.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard to have incentive to keep playing at some point. But but for the big things, the 10-2 fixed a lot of problems 13 had in some ways, and it still had the nice combat system that was interesting at least. But at that point, the game was so easy that you didn't have to think.
We cannot let our target
Yeah.
Like, oh cool, they have the combat system that the other game had, and then I played through the entirety of 13-2 without dying. And I'm like, oh shit, I think they messed up. It also managed to have somehow an even dumber story than 13, which was fascinating.
Are we talking 13-2 did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
13-2 has one of the worst time travel storylines I've seen in anything, basically.
I really want to play...
At no point does it attempt to make any sense or explain its logic of how its own time travel works. And every single definition I've tried to apply to it for time travel, like every model from every form of fiction I've seen, because I watched a lot of time travel shit, none of them explain the plot in a way that makes it make sense.
So I was reading the plot synopsis for DBZ's Xenoverse and 13-2. They're very similar. It bothers me.
Makes sense. Time travel is often a plot point of convenience. These guys are very hard to kill.
Just don't fight them. Throw on
Shit.
speed and head for the exit. We're done.
We're
This
not playing? Okay.
This is a capture mission now. I ran out of exterminate keys, so we're gonna have to try again later.
Bye, everyone. My bad.
Yeah, sadly the
I was
whole
trying
limited...
to fight the gunners, but they were taking a. I was chiseling their health bar.
Oh yeah, they're hard to kill. The only reason why I kill them is because my gun is honestly insane.
Horrifying.
It does 30,000 damage per shot.
Jesus
So I
Christ!
think
I don't
that's a
even know what that
lie.
number means.
Like, the
Seems
problem
impossible.
is, it's a shotgun, so each pellet does a specific amount of damage, so it estimates that it does 30,000. But it's honestly not? I don't know. The games I want to play that have really good time travel, from what I heard, is Radiant Historia.
Chat. Sorry.
And-
The chat saying they like 13-2's time travel because they don't try to explore it, but like, if the time travel's the entire plot and you never explain it, then you don't know what the stakes of anything ever are or what's going on in this game.
I guess it
So
depends.
basically you have to just give up on the whole plot.
There has to be a happy medium between explaining it too hard and explaining it not at all.
Well, the problem is the plot is the time travel. It's a time travel plot. Like, it's not like a plot that just conveniently used time travel at some point. The time traveling in itself is actually the plot and the climax and all of the stakes. So it's the entirety of the story. You're basically being hunted down by, like, a time bounty hunter or something for your time travel nonsense. Like, that's more or less what's going on at some point. So, like, you have to explain the time travel at some point because it's the entirety of the game's story.
I tried looking up the plot for 13-3, and I just put it down. I just didn't even understand.
Oh yeah, I gave up on that. I completely gave up.
But yeah, the
It
two
sounded like lightning became an emotionless
robot.
apocalypse angel that's shepherding
Yes.
people to the afterlife or something. And I'm like, you made her emotionless. How is that different from the last two games? She's always been an emotionless drone of a person. But like now they have an excuse to not give her any personality. And yeah, it's like the most interesting thing about that game to me is that it has like a Dead Rising time element to it that's kind of a twist. But it seemed like the story would just not be a good experience to play through.